Welcome to Manga Storian's Berserk story. Today we're going to be continuing our story and bringing you the second short episode so that we can get our schedule back on track. Now when we last left off, Guts was forced to fight against these evil crocodiles, which forced him to put back on the Berserker armor, which made him begin to lose control. As he was going forth to kill his own friends, a small voice was telling him in the back of his head, "Stop." The small being now appears before Guts, telling him no, and as he howls, the being tells him, "We are not your enemy. There is nothing to fear." The being reaches out and touches Guts on the helmet, and suddenly the armor begins to crack, and through the beast's eyes, Guts opens his eyes and stumbles backwards. The voice inside tells him, "Look carefully. Listen, head towards the light." Guts can begin to see something, but he can't understand it, and it's Shirkei. She's calling out to him, reaching for him. With her hands, she reaches into the waters and begins to pull Guts out of the darkness. He gasps for air as the helmet is ripped off, and everyone runs over to see if he's okay. He shouts as he punches the ground, yelling that it turned out just like he said it would. And Shirkei walks up, telling Guts that if he tries to keep doing everything himself, he's gonna become a twisted adult, right? He looks up and he laughs. "Yeah. You're right." Ishidoro begins patting Shirkei, stating that he doesn't know what happened, but as long as they have Shirkei's magic, he'll always be able to come back, so it's all okay. Shirkei asks, "Do you understand the seriousness of all of this? One mistake and Guts' life could be lost." Farnese then says that they should all be happy with what's been accomplished. Everyone knows how dangerous it is, and how they were all able to survive it. Guts starts to get back up, stating that when a bunch of kids and women try to cheer him up, he doesn't really have much choice. "Just let me be for now." As Guts looks at everyone, he thinks back to the being that he saw. It wasn't Shirkei, it was something else. He tells everyone to come on. They need to go back and tend to the wounds that they just opened up. However, as everyone follows suit, Serpico stays back, thinking how he just drew his sword against Guts. Suddenly, everyone hears Casca yelling, and when they look over, they see the young boy is gone. Everyone looks around, and when they find nothing, Farnese tells Casca that it's okay. He probably just returned home. Guts pauses and thinks that the boy couldn't have been the same that he saw. Could he? As everyone starts to leave, up along the cliffs, the young boy stands in the moonlight watching them all leave. And meanwhile, out in the ocean, the boat that Shirkei thought she sensed floats on. Inside, a man reports to Daiba that the infiltration of the coastal area is complete. Daiba says that he knows. "Go ahead and tell the general on the mainland to advance the armies." And as Daiba goes back to smoking his pipe, he senses that one of the Harashada groups failed. The group that fought Guts. There shouldn't have been anyone on this island able to defeat the crocodiles that he received from the Emperor. Or could there? After a night of walking, morning comes, and with it the sight of seeing a new city with plenty of people. The city looks like the port city of Veritanis, garrison for the Holy See. Ishidoro stares at all of the soldiers, stating that this is a large amount of men, and Serpico tells him that it's just a sample of the Vatican Order's army. Though Serpico goes on explaining everything to Ishidoro, Guts notices Shirkei getting uncomfortable. He asks if everything's alright, and she tells him that it's nothing, it's just barbarous to see all of these men. Guts looks at the men, smelling the air, and he's reminded that this scent is something familiar to him. The smell of the battlefield. Once inside of the city, the group walks through the crowds of people, and Ishidoro hears one man shouting above everyone else. He calls out that they are the band of the New Dawn's Fang. They are an invincible army in the war for Randall's independence. The ones who crushed Baldin's heavy armored cavalry. Ishidoro asks who the hell is this guy, and Guts tells him that they are just trying to recruit people. The man standing on the pedestal there is the leader of this group. Mercenaries first look to a leader to see if he's trustworthy, has money, and most of all, gets along with his soldiers. For a mercenary, fighting for a nation's honor means nothing. It's simply just a means to put food on the table. But even still, mercenaries would be happy to also have a leader who would lose a battle to save the lives of his soldiers, rather than win regardless of the lives that were lost. Puck mentions that the main thing is to have a strong, charismatic, and beloved leader, and Serpico says that there was a man like that once. His name was Sir Griffith. In the Midland Kudor 100-year war, he went undefeated. After becoming a regular army, the legendary leader brought an end to the war by capturing the Doldry Fortress. As Serpico talks, Farnese thinks that Griffith was the name that Guts said a while back. Puck turns to Guts to see if he's going to respond, but he doesn't, and he continues to walk on. Ishidoro says, "Yeah, I remember that guy. It was the Band of Hawks raiding commander. He was really strong too. He killed like 100. No, like 1,000 men to himself." Ishidoro then asks Guts, "You were in a mercenary band, right? What was the name of it?" Guts tells him that it was a long time ago. He's forgotten about it already. While Guts dwells on his past, the soldiers stop Shirkei, asking about her clothes. This is the citadel of the Vatican Order, and they won't permit her to enter like that. Serpico runs up, telling the guards that it's just a costume. They're performers, you see. She holds out her staff and she waves it and then tells everyone to come along. Ishidora then asks, what just happened? And Shirke says that she can manipulate people's to divert their attention. So as the group moves through the city, every time the guards stop her, she waves her staff and everyone continues on. After a while, Ishidora says that they should probably have her change her clothes, and Shirke says that this is just normal for her. He swaps out her hat, asking why she's being so stubborn. And as the hat falls off, a passing carriage runs it over. She runs over to pick up the hat, and Ishidora says that he's sorry, but what's with the hat? It's just old and tattered. She turns back with tears in her eyes, and Ishidora gets ready to get hit by magic, but she just runs off. Ivalaria yells at Ishidora, telling her that the clothes are handmade by Flora herself. Everything else that she had was burned to the ground. To make a girl cry, you're really a monkey. Guts tells everyone that they should probably go look for an inn. We still have to do the mind talk. Puck whispers to Ishidora that they should go look for her, and he'll come along too. Up ahead, Ivalaria flies up to Shirke asking where she's going, and she responds, somewhere without people. She really doesn't like this place. It's nothing like the forest. She follows this spirit as it tries to talk, and everything it says she cannot understand. The spirit is then pulled away, and as Shirke turns a corner, she hears the crows cawing, and she sees a body hanging there. She looks down the hallway, and she sees not just one body, but a dozen of them, all lined up along the wall. Shirke looks at one of the bodies and sees the spirit from before attaching itself, motioning like this is where it belonged. She grabs her staff and she begins to see through their eyes, the hardships that they face, the lashings, even the deaths. She falls back startled, rubbing her neck like she was the one with the rope around it, and then more voices can be heard. All of them calling out, screaming for her. And the two guards look at Shirke asking what's going on and who is she. She asks, who are you people? And what is the sin that they are being executed for? The guards stare for a moment as Shirke holds out her staff and tells her that these men were Kushin. They were slaves who settled in Veritanis. She thinks to herself, how? How can these people kill each other so unreasonably? She points her staff at the guards, telling them to leave the bodies out like this is just blasphemous towards the dead. They should at least bring them down so that they can burn them. And as the men do just that, the bodies burn and the young girl watches from afar. Meanwhile, Ishidora goes around with a pumpkin carving of Shirke, asking anyone if they've seen her, but gets nowhere. After giving the pumpkin to an old man, Ishidora scratches his head, asking, just where is that witch wandering about? And then a voice tells Ishidora, if you'd excuse me, but did you just say witch? Could you please tell me in detail about what you're talking about? Back with Shirke, she wanders to the docks, looking up at the giant ships, wondering how even the trees in a single forest wouldn't be enough to make all of these. How could such a large, massive ship be needed? What place are they trying to reach? Shirke takes her hat and holds it close, telling Flora that the human voices here are so strong and the elementals are so weak. Over in the alley, Ishidora tells the knight that if he wants to ask someone about something, he should get off his high horse. The knight tells him sorry and he hops down and he takes off his helmet, revealing himself to be Mule, the young man who pledged himself to Griffith. Mule says that he's looking for someone, and if he knows anything about where he could find the witch, please tell him. Ishidora tells him to wait. He gets it now. You're looking for the witch so that you can turn her in. I'm not an idiot, you know. And by the looks of it, you look like some noble just trying to become a knight. Ishidora hops over the ledge to the lower level, but before Mule can chase him, Puck swoops in, knocking him away. Ishidora runs away and Mule asks, was that? And Puck wonders, how could that guy have avoided his attack? He was in stealth mode. Back in the dock, Shirke sits as all of the seagulls fly by when Ivalaria notices someone coming. The person walking says, incredible, there really is a witch here. And Sonia looks down asking, you are a witch, right? Shirke pauses for a moment and asks, do I look like one? And she tells her that she does. She has the pointy hat and staff, sitting there talking to animals, and mainly there's an elf sitting on your shoulder. A girl with an elf has to be a witch. And Ivalaria asks her, you could see me? Sonia goes on, stating also that thing before, those hung Kushin people. You're the one who set them free, right? It was a beautiful sight, like watching fish swimming into the sunset. Sonia sits down, saying that it's so cool how she led those guards by their nose. That was magic, right? And Shirke tries to hide herself, stating that it wasn't anything great, something like hypnosis. Sonia starts kicking her legs, asking, I thought the witches lived in the mountains and the forest. Why come to a place like this? And Shirke sighs, stating that she's in the middle of a journey. Since she's come here, a lot of things have happened. Sonia waits for a moment and says, oh, it must be hard being different from other people. But like you, a lot of things have happened, so allow me to explain. Once upon a time, there was an ugly duckling. The duckling was different from everyone else, and that was because it was a kite. One day, the duck nest was attacked by malicious crows, and the ducks were unable to fly, so they were captured. The little kite, thinking itself to be a strange duck, didn't know how to fly, and thus was also caught. Then the ducks were rescued by a king of birds, the white hawk. The hawk's dragon retainers defeated the crows completely. The kite knew deep down watching the hawk that they were alike. It had learned that it could fly. So the kite went over the entire country exterminating the crows, allowing those who joined the cause to do so as well. Then the queen of the ducks, who was a prisoner of the king of the crows, was rescued by the hawk. The hawk spent time with the queen of the ducks, even though she couldn't fly, and this upset the little kite. So the kite flew off, figuring that it would gaze out at the sea and maybe it would help distract it. Evalaria shouts that that's amazing. What happened next? So Sonya goes on, stating that while at the sea, the little kite met a little forest owl surrounded by seagulls. The kite thought that even with all of those seagulls around the owl looked lonely. So the kite figured that since they always looked somewhat similar, maybe they could be friends. Shirkei sighs, stating that the owl was thinking the same thing actually. And Sonya then asks, is there someone traveling with you that can understand your feelings? So Shirkei kicks her legs, saying, all of her companions are a bunch of normal humans, but Shirkei thinks back to Guts, and Sonya begins to laugh, stating, it's love! You're definitely in love! After Shirkei blushes from embarrassment, Sonya gets up, stating that she should go back to that person that she's thinking of. Just then, the seagulls get started as a group of men begin to chase a group of children. Another group of men surround the children and they tell them they can all fight all they want, but they have nowhere to run. One of the men grabs a child and Shirkei taps her staff, telling the man to stop. Please don't expose you to a scene more disgraceful than this. So it's a little bit of a bridging chapter. We're in the town right now, but don't worry, the story is going to get better if you are wondering where it's going. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Mangastorian, and you can find us right here if you subscribe. I'll see you next time at the next episode of Berserk.